Hello everyone, this is Rodrigo Robalino, and believe it or not, pre-construction sales for condos are hotter than ever, not just in Toronto, Vaughan, York region, but across the country. And if you are thinking about buying a pre-construction condo, do check out this video. In this video, I will give out 3 tips that you may want to consider when you're buying that pre-construction condo, not only during the search, but also after you sign on the dotted line. Once you do sign on the dotted line, it's important to understand the commitments that you have for the builder and what commitments the builder has for you as the purchaser. If you haven't subscribed to our video, please do so by clicking on the button below. Do click on the little bell as well. It reminds you when new videos come up. But for now, let's dive into our video. Well, we're here. You know, pre-construction sales are hotter than ever. It's unbelievable how many applications are submitted compared to how many units are sold. The demand is so high for these units and prices continue to rise. As a pre-construction investor, as a pre-construction buyer, it is important that you do complete your due diligence before committing on a firm deal with the builder. So here's our tip number 1. At the end of the day, do your due diligence on the builder and the team that they're working with. It's very interesting just looking back in November of last year, where one of the developers in Barrie decided to cancel all the agreements for their purchasers and said to them like, look, unfortunately, we're gonna have to cancel your agreement. And if you would like your unit to be built, you're gonna have to pay us an extra $100,000. As a purchaser, if I was in that situation, it would be heartbreaking. It would be very, very, very hard. And the next question is, what do I do? It's very unfortunate what's happening with that, because all of these sales, just to put things into perspective, all of these sales happened between 2018 all the way to 2020. And for the builder all of a sudden to come back to them in 2021 and say, look, we need more money from you, or else we're not going to complete this project, or we're just going to sell it to another buyer. It's unfair. It is very, very much unfair. So you got to make sure you do your due diligence. This is not the first time that I've seen these things happening. There are other things that when you sign a pre-construction condo, I've seen the agreements, they are very lengthy, they are packed. And these builders have clauses in there to protect them for any situation. And sometimes they use it to their advantage, and they use it in a profit in a way that it doesn't benefit the consumer. And it's very unfortunate because they're committing to delivering a product, a unit that you dreamed of, and all of a sudden they come back to you and they change the terms, they change of how they're going to do things. And I get both sides, but when you sign a commitment between two parties, deliver it. I think that's very, very important. So due diligence to your developer is very important before you sign on the dotted line, before you complete and go into a firm deal. Now, when we're doing our due diligence for our clients in pre-constructions, here are a few questions that may help you and has helped us in the past to determine whether this project is good or not for our clients. A few questions we ask ourselves is, 1, how long has the developer been around? Have they been focusing on pre-construction projects, and have they delivered the product? How many other projects have they delivered in the area, in the province, in the country? Are they successful at doing that? The other question that we always ask is, if they're developing pre-construction condos, high-rise, have they done that? Because sometimes we find that developers that are doing low-rise are now getting into high-rise, but it's a very different type of building. At that point, not only are we looking at the developer, but who are they hiring to guide them through that first project, making sure that the team behind them is a good one and that has done and managed projects in the past to make sure that your project is a successful one. A couple of other things that come into mind is, when they actually deliver the product, is the quality the same that they promised during the sales 3, 4, 5 years behind the road? That's very important as well, because we've seen projects that have been, they've given to the consumer. At the end of the day, the condo was built, but the quality was not the same of what was promised during the sales pitch. So it's very important to be aware of this. Other things that we look for is red flags within the builders, and making sure that if there are any red flags, our buyers are aware of it. Furthermore, has there been any complaints registered with Tyrion, and what are those complaints? How big of a complaint are there? These are a few questions that just pop into my mind as I'm talking to you here, and there are a few different ones that come through when we do analyze these contracts. Every builder is different, every type of unit is different, so it's important that you do your due diligence when it comes to the developer and their team. And this puts us into our tip number 2. Make sure that you understand all the financial commitments that you're making and understand what kind of cash flow you need to have from the time that you sign on the dotted line all the way up until closing. This is crucial and extremely important. The good news is that in Ontario, once you do sign in the dotted line, you will have a 10-day cooling off period. This is very important because at this point you found a project that you like, you know that you want to invest in it, you really like it, you like the building, you like the location, you like the amenities, and you say, great, I'm going to sign on the dotted line. At this point, it's important that you have a team behind you to guide you, professionals that will help you and guide you to understand every aspect of the contract, every aspect and commitments that you're making to the developer, and also understanding what the developer will provide and will deliver at the end of the day. So 3 professionals that I would recommend you to have when you're making these pre-construction projects is, of course, a real estate professional and agent. They will be able to help you and guide you in due diligence. For example, on the tip number 1 I gave about the developer and understanding who they're working with, who is their team. Is this a good project? Should you do it? Should you buy into it? What are the pros? What are the cons? They will also be able to analyze data to understand, are you paying a fair price per square foot? Are you choosing the right unit? These are a couple of things that the real estate agent will be able to guide you with. Another piece of the puzzle is your real estate lawyer. Not just anyone. You definitely want to be able to choose someone that has experience in reviewing these agreements. They know exactly what to look for. They know exactly the things that you as a buyer should have in the contract to protect yourself. There are times that we walked away from contracts because our real estate lawyers have said, these things we don't like and you should be aware of it. And after understanding these clauses, our buyers end up walking from these pre-construction projects and understanding that we won't go in there for reason A, B, C, whatever that reason is. The other professional that I recommend you to talk to is your mortgage broker. They'll be able to help you making sure that you qualify for a purchase, provide a pre-approval letter that a lot of builders are asking these days. And the most important thing is understanding what kind of cost and cash flow you will need from the time that you sign on the dotted line all the way up until closing. You want to have this money available to make sure that you're never in breach of contract. A few questions that we do that we go through as a real estate agent with our clients and with our team of lawyers and mortgage brokers as we go through this process is, for example, will you qualify for the HST rebate when it comes time for closing? Can you use your first-time home buyer credit when you close on the condo? Are you able to use the funds from your RSPs to pay for the deposits for these pre-construction purchases? Understanding the different type of costs, including interim closing fees, something to be aware of, connections and hookups for utilities, your legal fees that we actually are responsible for some of the legal fees from the builder, believe it or not. Tarion registration, what are the deadlines? What are you protected for? And once you do take possession of the condo, how do you need to communicate a Tarion to make sure that you are protected? Once we go through all these questions and analyze all the facts, you will be able to make a much better decision during that 10 cool-off period to say, you know what, this is the condo I want to go with. I understand everything that I need to be aware of, and I want to move forward. I hope this is helpful. And lastly, to our tip number 3. At the end of the day, when we're working with buyers, whether they're first-time purchasers or whether investors, sometimes they're only looking at price per square foot on these new projects, and they're not looking at the overall picture. And that's something that I really want you to think about, because when people go in and they start looking at only price per square foot, they miss details of why these projects are selling at these different prices. The biggest questions that I always ask is that if you're buying it at a lower price or a higher price compared to the average, I always ask, what is this building offering comparing to others? Is there, as a purchaser, as an investor, is this benefiting me in the future? Does it make sense to purchase in this building or in this location? Those are just a few questions that I would ask. as we're guiding buyers, as we're guiding investors to make sure that they are making the right decisions. At the end of the day, price per square foot could vary even within the building between a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom. Understanding layouts is quite crucial. So determining the right project, it doesn't only come down to price per square foot. There's a few other things that I would think about when we sit with our clients. So we always talk about what's important to you. Why do you want to buy pre-construction? You know, do you have the money readily available? Will you qualify once this project is done and built? Right? What's important to you when you're looking for these pre-construction projects? Because like I said, layouts could be also very important and very crucial. Perhaps sometimes it's better to buy a 1+N versus a 2-bedroom, or vice versa, or perhaps a 1-bedroom. Perhaps you want to stay away from small bachelor condo apartments, or perhaps not, because that's what you can afford. Every building will be different, every location will be different. So all these questions will come in hand as you're analyzing facts for this pre-construction project. You know, a few other things that I can just think about on the spot is, you know, parking and locker. We get a lot of questions for our buyers. Should I buy parking? Should I buy the locker? Is it important? Is there a good return on investment? And it all depends if you're buying as a purchaser or as an investor. Same thing with floors. Should you buy on the lower floor, on the higher floor? All these questions come into place, and believe it or not, price per square foot will actually change significantly depending what floor you want to be in. You know, if you want to be on the southwest views, viewing the lake, you'll definitely be paying a premium compared to northern views, or perhaps eastern views in buildings. So there are ways to actually choose units that will benefit you in the future. The most important part here is make sure that you align yourselves with professionals. If you don't have those professionals in hand, we can definitely recommend you great people that have great experiences with pre-construction sales, reviews of agreements, mortgage brokers that do this on a daily basis, that they're able to tell you exactly what you need to know to make sure that you're making the right decision for you and your loved ones. If you found this of value, this video, please make sure you click on the like button, send us those thumbs up. And if you have questions, I know that there's a lot of information in this video, but I'm pretty sure you have a lot more questions. Please do send me a message or put in the comments below. We'll be monitoring that so that we can give you all the answers that you need. But for now, we want to say thank you for following us. If you know of anybody that can benefit from this video, please do share it. And until next time, take care.